Okay, I'm Karl Harron from Karl Harron Glass Studio. I make one-off commission pieces from fused and blown glass. I took myself off to Milan and walked into the Duomo and looked up, and there was this amazing stained glass window with a warhorse with steam coming out of its nostrils, and done in the 16th century, and I felt the steam coming out of the nostrils. Awesome. So after trying to actually view it a little bit closer and was caught and ejected, I was probably the only person you know who's been ejected from the Duomo in the middle of Milan, forcibly anyway. I came back and hunted out a gentleman called Paul Casciani, who was the master artist at Whitefriars in London, and he trained me up in stained glass. At the same time, this was about 1985, a technique called assemblage was on the go with glass. It was more or less the beginnings of glass fusing. And Paul didn't really like it. He was very traditional in stained glass, but I did like it. And then when I came back from Oxford and arrived back in Ireland, I really went into the fused glass then. And I'm self-taught, and I'm now an international masterclass facilitator. Bullseye Glass Company will donate materials towards it. Bullseye are an American art glass company, Portland in Oregon, and I'll travel about the world teaching with their product. Fused glass, everybody knows glass blowing. Take a gather of molten glass from the furnace and literally blow it into shape, and very, very skilled. Equally skilled is kiln forming glass, or glass fusing. You can also cast in the kiln, pâte de verre, myriad of techniques, but I have targeted and specialised in deep slumping into large ceramic moulds, and I'm getting bigger and bigger in size. Usually the dimensions of the work I'm now doing would only be blown. They would never ever be kiln formed because it's so difficult. Glass doesn't really like moving. It's quite viscous, and when it does decide to move, it moves wherever it wants. So essentially the technique is very simply adding two layers of glass together to make up an optimum volume or depth of the glass, which is about 6 millimeters in depth. I'll refer to volume because it's obviously in a molten state. It is actually a liquid, and we'll fuse different colours of glasses, different shapes, to make a desired object at the end. In my case, I'd be mostly fusing large 22-inch diameter blanks, like a big discus, which I would decorate using just two glasses. One is dense white, which is lead based, and one is French vanilla, which is sulphur based. And I'm sure you'll remember your schoolboy and schoolgirl chemistry. Lead and sulphur give us lead sulfide, which is a grey colour, and all my mark makings on my pieces are created through this reaction at the interface of the two glasses. So I would very much have a recognised international style, and in fact this is what I teach when I go abroad. The main inspiration for my work comes from the shards of tephra 4,000 years ago that came out of violent eruptions in the Arctic Circle. Very exactly the same that's happening at the minute. Micro shards of glass taken up by the heat that have been affecting the airlines. Exactly the same things, and one of the volcanoes deposited layers of these micro shards, tephra they're called, from the Greek word meaning ash, into the peatlands of Ireland, waiting to be discovered. And if you go and see them, in the peatlands. There's the glinting yellowy green sparkling layers in the strata, and it's actually all the little microshards are now being compressed and turning back into solid pieces of glass. And this is the ethos behind my work, that the heat of the volcano is the kiln, and the microshards is obviously glass itself, and through gravity, as the shards fell down to earth, that I slump in 3 stages the flat disc into a rounded bowl. So I'm using gravity as well, and then the final erosion, if you like, or the compression of the shards is the diamond grinding equipment that I have to actually take the glaze off, because my work isn't glassy looking, it's more porcelain-esque and more translucent, and that's the style that I've adopted to present my work in. So this is the glass re-emerging back out of the peatlands. Yeah.